So in this exercise, we're looking at good techniques for the way we link our tasks in the project. So as you can see here, we don't have any linking information at the moment. And so now we're going to need to put the information in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're putting in a constraint. So they have given us information about site establishment. Down here, task 16. There is a specific constraint on this task that we can't start this task any earlier than the 5th of October 2020. So, and that could be the case that you got information, your resources aren't able to get there before a certain time, or if you've got a constraint like a certain task can start later, but it can't start any earlier than a specific time, then it is a good idea to put in a constraint. So we're going to get up the task information dialog box. So supervision is the first one. So as I said, either you double click on it, so make sure it is supervision, or the other way of getting this task information dialog box to come up is to go to the task menu here, to pull up the task menu on the ribbon. And then all the way over here on the right, this is the properties group. We have information. That is the exact same box. So when I click on that, you should see it looks the same. It might have a different tab selected, but it is the same box as when I double click. Okay, so this is task information dialog box for the task supervision. Now, we are wanting to put a constraint on. There isn't a tab here that is called constraint. So we need to know where do we put constraints? And constraints is in the advanced tab. So we will do this one this way, and then I will show you a different way of putting on a constraint. Okay, so this is putting on a constraint using the task information dialog box, and constraints are inside the advanced tab. At the moment, this task supervision has the constraint type as soon as possible. Now, this is important to know in Microsoft Project. If you actually don't want a task to have a constraint, so no constraint on a task, Microsoft Project calls that as soon as possible. That is the name that they give to the constraint. So just remember that if you are trying to reset a constraint, you want to take constraints off, you choose as soon as possible. That's what Microsoft Project calls it. Okay, but now for this task, supervision, we want to choose the constraint type, start no earlier than. So here, start no earlier than. And what that means is we can start later than whatever the date is, but we can't start any earlier than that. Okay, and the date that they've given us is the 5th of October 2020. So we need to go back there to 2020 and October of 2020. Okay, so there's October of 2020, so that's Monday the 5th of October 2020. Okay, then once we've done this, as soon as we click OK, the task should jump out. So click OK. Okay, it's gone actually off my page because September is the latest that I'm showing. I can quickly do my zoom entire project, or you can also, if you want to, you can just zoom out here using the plus and the minus down here. Okay, so that is one way of setting a constraint. And as you can see, this task has now moved out. Then we want to also put the same constraint, start no earlier than the 5th of October on site establishment. But I just want to show you guys a different way of doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the split view, and it is the task details split view. So there are two different ways of doing this. Either, as the book has told us, the manual, you can go to your task menu and then you can go, so information was where I went last time. Details is here. That is the split view at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's more information here. So if you look here, so this down here is the details split view. So you see there's a split. We've got the Gantt chart at the top and we've got something else down here that's a split view. This specific one is the task details form. And we got that by going to task menu, all the way on the right here, properties group, details. But I do want to just show you, if you choose the other way, view menu, and you tick details, and it says task form, this is just task form. This is not task details form. So it's very similar, but it's just not quite the same. And one of the things, when we have this one, details task form, can you see if I look for a constraint here, is there any constraint information in this task form? So that is the big difference. Now I can choose it from the drop-down list, but I have to go in. So it's not one of these top suggested 3, and it's also not one of these ones. So then I have to go down to more views. So this just starts getting a bit involved. It should be here, the task. Yeah, there we go, task details form. It is there, but it just starts getting a bit more involved. If you want this task details form, the easiest way to get it is to go into your task menu and just select that details in the property group. Okay, good. Now, one of the things that is really helpful about having this task details form and having constraint information is that you can then go task by task and you can just quickly look through. So I'm going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard to just go down, so it will move me down. And while I'm going down, I'm going to be looking at this constraint. If it says as soon as possible, that means the task does not have a constraint. So I'm just going to quickly do a run through checking these tasks are as soon as possible, so they don't have constraints. Then of course we get to our supervision. We just put this start no earlier constraint, so that's great. Then we keep going. All the rest of them are as soon as possible. So if you are wanting to do a very quick check to see if your tasks have constraints, this is a good way of doing it, if you need to check what the constraints are. Okay, but now we actually need to put on a second constraint onto site establishment here. So just make sure in your Gantt chart that you have selected task 16 site establishment. Then once you've clicked on it up here, just make sure it does say there site establishment in the name in the task details form. And the constraint here, we need to change this. We are going to be using a start no earlier than. It's the same as the previous task. So start no earlier than constraint. And then we do need to fill in the date. It's the same date as the previous one, October of 2020. So back to October. And it's the 5th, Monday, the 5th of October, 2020. But now notice once you've done this, this is always the case in your details form, you have to click OK. If you don't click OK, the task hasn't moved. There is no constraint image there. Microsoft Project hasn't accepted this information. I have to click OK. When I click OK, then Microsoft Project accepts it and the task moves out there to start at the same time as supervision. Okay, so that is constraints.